Well, hello again and welcome back to Vickie's Country Home. This is kind of going to be a fun video, I think. I was reading some posts on Facebook and I found one that it tickled my funny bone because being from Texas and everybody's a redneck, okay, we're rednecks. Well, this recipe is for redneck winemaking. So we're gonna make redneck strawberry wine, and this recipe comes from jinksto.com and it's Redneck Guide to Strawberry Winemaking. So Shana and I, after a really good laugh, decided we're gonna do it. So we're gonna bring you along and have some fun. Alright, so to start with, I went to Costco today and they had 4 pounds of strawberries for $5.99. And then I got one package of these that was $2 off. So you need 10 pounds of fruit. And it can be strawberries, it can be whatever kind of fruit you want. But they had strawberries, so that's what I got. So the first thing you do is everything needs to be completely clean. So I'm rinsing these well in a vinegar water solution. And then I'm rinsing them well with clear water. So then we're going to do that to all of these strawberries, 10 pounds. We're going to cut them into pieces after we take the hulls. And then I'll bring you back and show you the next step. Alright, we're doing this in stages because this is a lot of strawberries. So Shana and I have cut up 4 pounds of strawberries, and you don't have to be particular because they're just going to get made into wine. So you want to break them up a little. We kind of mostly quartered them. We cleaned them well, we rinsed them with vinegar, then with water, and everything we're using is cleaned really well. And then because Brian makes beer, we have the equipment we need. So we have this 5-gallon, it's called a carboy, I think. This big plastic jug, and it's got a spigot and everything. And he has sanitized this with, I think it's called Star San. It's a sanitizer that really does well and you don't have to rinse it out. So if you see the foam in the bottom, that's okay because this stuff doesn't hurt. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put, as we get them cut, we're going to get these strawberries put in here. So that's the next step. And I may have to do something because this is like almost at the level of my head. So I got to figure out a way to get them in there without spilling them everywhere. So we're going to get 10 pounds of these cut up and then put them in this carboy. And then I also had some blueberries that I bought and I haven't used. So you know what? I'm throwing the blueberries in too, so it'll be strawberry with a little bit of blueberry wine. Let me bring you back when we get that done. All right, we have 10 pounds of strawberries and just a handful of blueberries. And oh, those blueberries were so good. Almost didn't want to put them in here. So the rule is that you, first of all, this has all been really well sanitized. We've been sanitized, everything's been sanitized. We put in the 10 pounds of cut up strawberries and the blueberries. Now we've added water up to the 4-gallon mark. It says you could do 3 gallons. We're going not as strong because I guess this stuff can get pretty strong. So this is a 6-gallon container. So we've got 4 gallons of water, and this is filtered water. And we're going to put in at least 5 pounds of sugar. So If you have 10 pounds of fruit, you're going to put in 5 pounds of sugar at least. And to be safe, I'm going to put just a little more just to keep it safe. So I'm going to put in a little over 5 pounds of sugar. We're going to stir it up well, and then we're going to put a cap on this and let it sit for 24 hours. And then we'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Because again, this is a redneck wine. All right, so we have the 10 pounds of strawberries and blueberries. We brought the water up to the 4-gallon mark. And then we added about 5.5 pounds of sugar, because you'd rather have a little more sugar than not enough, just to be safe. So we put that in there, and we have been stirring this. And believe me, when you're short, this is tough. So we've got that done. We've got the sugar dissolved. And now we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And I'm using bottled because mostly and that should be about 2 tablespoons or at least. But if you use this, you're sure of the acidic level, so you know that it's safe. If you use fresh squeezed lemons, it's not always the same. So we added that. We're gonna stir this up really well. And now we're gonna cover this and let it sit till tomorrow night. So I'll bring you back tomorrow and we'll see what we do next. There's some more steps, but Shana and I are having a blast. This is fun and we can't wait to see what happens. So we'll bring you back tomorrow. Okay, it has been a couple days. Brian is our brewmaster around here, and he gave us very strict instructions. And because he thought that maybe there was not all good bacteria and yeast in there, he wanted to put the Camden tablets in, which is what the instructions say you can use or not. We washed everything carefully, we sanitized, and we washed all of our berries with vinegar, but he felt better using the Camden tablets, so we did that. But that kills everything, so we've had to wait a couple days to add the yeast. And of course, because we did that, he also decided we really needed to have winemaking yeast. So this is not exactly redneck as we thought it was going to be, but that's okay. So we've sanitized this really long spoon. And now here's our winemaker's yeast. And I've read the instructions on this package. Says you don't need to mix it with water. You just put it right in with your must and stir it up. If you're using another kind of yeast, you probably want to mix it with warm water and let it sit a little bit and then add it. But because we got the fancy stuff, we're doing it this way. It would have been really fun to do it all redneck though. But when you have a brewmaster in the house, you gotta bend to some of their rules. It's really tall. It smells a lot strawberry, maybe a little bit fermented. Okay, stir that up really well. I'm going to take this out and hand it over here to Shana, who's my assistant. And then to keep everything really sanitary, we're going to sanitize the lid again just to make sure everything's good. So let me go do that. All right, we did that. We'll put that back on. So now what we'll do is we'll probably pull one of these plugs on the top of this cap and cover this. And then we're just going to let it sit. And we won't, the cloth is to keep any kind of flies or anything like that out of it. And we're gonna leave this for a while. The instruction says you want to leave it like this for a while. Just walk by every day or so and give it a good stirring or shaking to keep things going. We could do that. So we're gonna walk by, give it a stirring or shaking every few days and keep an eye on it. And then we'll report back. All right, 8 days and this thing is just bubbling away. So cool. All right, we have little volcanoes going off all over. This is really kind of fun to watch. It's sad, but you know, we're having fun. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do next. So the idea is we have to take all that fruit off the top. But since Brian has all this fancy equipment and we're not so much redneck, we're gonna drain it out at the bottom of here because he's got the fancy setup. So down here we have another carboy and a 5-gallon bucket. And the carboy has been sanitized and has a tube that has been sanitized in it. And he's gonna have me tell you all about the sanitizer. You need to use Star San, and you use 1 ounce for every 5 gallons of water. And if you use distilled water, it comes out really clear. And if you don't use distilled water, it's cloudy, but it's still good. So we use Star San on everything. And the bucket, we have a bunch of Star San in that. So what we're gonna do, and that's where the other end of the tube is, so it's staying sanitized till we're ready. Did I remember everything, Brian?
Uh-huh.
Okay. We're not so much redneck anymore. We have been following the brewmaster. So, okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go sanitize the spigot. And this is Star San in this little bottle. I'm gonna spray it real good because we don't want any little bacterias anywhere around it. Now I need to let that sit for a couple minutes. So I'll bring you back when we do the next part. We've waited a minute or two, and now I'm going to sanitize my hands. I'm going to stick them in this bucket. That way we're all sanitary. And I'm going to take this tube out, making sure it drains all the stuff out. Now, without touching all that stuff, we're going to do this. I'm going to just push it on there really well.
You're good.
Now, moment of truth. Ta-da!
Pull the airlock out.
Oh, he didn't tell me this part, so I have to pull this airlock out, or else it's like a vacuum. But look at the little volcanoes. Isn't that fun? And we're just going to turn this and nothing's happening, Brian. Nothing's coming out.
Just a moment.
You didn't tell me that part.
Here we go. There you go.
Okay. He didn't tell me to take the whole plug out. So we took the whole plug out. So now we're going to drain it, but we're going to leave the fruit in there.
Smells good too.
It smells good. Now, it did smell like rotten eggs, but we checked it all out and that's okay. You just have to stir it more. And he said to use a copper tube, which we sanitized, to make sure that it gets rid of that smell.
Hydrogen sulfide.
Hydrogen sulfide, that's the stuff. So he's been doing that and helping us out. And now it smells like strawberries. Go way down. It's really pretty. We're going to keep an eye on this because we want to make sure that all of that fruit stays in there. So we'll bring you back when we've got this all drained. All right, we're starting to get close to the fruit. But before we get to it, we're going to do this and tilt it so that the fruit is not clogging the spigot.
So that's probably good. There we go.
All right. Now, chickens are gonna get that lovely mess. Are they gonna get drunk? I don't know, we'll find out.
It does have some alcohol in it.
So this will go to the chickens. Now what do, brewmaster?
Just put that little orange thingy-majiggy.
This,
Yep, I pull out the tube. Just stick it in the top of that.
up top of that.
Yep. And then
Okay.
star sand the underside of that. Just spray it. Pop it on. And then we'll put the airlock on it after.
Okay, what you didn't see is that little orange cap. We sanitized that with the star sand and then we put it on there. And now we're gonna wait and watch it, and it's probably got still a whole lot of yeast. We've got all the wine into the new carboy. And you can see in the bottom that white layer, that's all the yeast and sediment that didn't get filtered out, and that's okay. So now what you do is you let that sit and wait, and it could be a week, 2 weeks, or whatever. You want that all to settle down, but this thing's still fermenting, so you'll still see the little volcanoes going off. So it needs some time, but we have the airlock on the top, and you have to put that on as soon as possible. And we're just gonna let this thing sit and make wine. Here is our semi-redneck strawberry wine. It's not completely redneck because Brian made some changes, but they're for the better. He's our brewmaster and he's telling us what we're doing wrong and what we need to do, so we're doing it. All right, so this has been about 5 weeks because we just never had the time to get together and do this. But look at this pretty color. It's really pretty color. Now what we're gonna do is take this out of here, and there's this film, and at the bottom we want to take out just the clear stuff and put this in a bottling bucket. So that's what we're gonna do now. All right, my lovely assistant Brian here is gonna help us with this so that we do it right. Everything has been properly sanitized repeatedly and reinforced to us over and over to make sure we understand. It is very important so it doesn't spoil your wine. So this is the thingy that he's going to use to get the wine out of here into the bottling bucket.
We put the thing into the dealy whopper and we go.
Yeah, that one. Okay. And he's a lot taller than I am too. Okay, so the thingy is in there, and he doesn't want it sitting on the bottom, right?
Nope. What it does is it has a spacer on the bottom that prevents it from doing that. And when it goes in the bottling bucket, just make sure your spigot's turned off so it doesn't go all over the floor.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing.
Yep.
Is it off?
Yep.
Okay.
And so that's it. We're siphoning.
So you probably can't see in the bucket yet. this bucket is going to hold the wine. That is our sanitizer bucket that everything goes into, including our hands, to make sure we're all properly sanitized. And I'm sure having all this fancy doohickey equipment makes this a lot faster than if we were doing it the real redneck way.
Well, no, it's just that it makes it easier. You could just do it just as well with a hose and just get a siphon on it and do that.
But this is not necessary.
Nope.
Again, we are doing this because Brian has all this equipment for his beer making. But you don't have to have all this fancy stuff. You can do it in buckets and hoses. Just properly sanitize them to make sure you're doing that part right.
Yep. That's it.
All right. So we got a little bit down here in the bottom, but that's got all this sediment. And we don't want that stuff.
And let me get this.
Okay, let us get set up for the next step. Okay, we've got it in the bottling bucket. And now we're going to take one of these really nice wine glasses and take a taste so that we know how much needs sweetening.
Keep going.
So there we go. It's strong and it's very dry, so it definitely needs some sweetener. And what we decided, we were just going to make a simple syrup and put that in there, sugar and water. But then I thought, wait a minute, I have strawberry lemonade concentrate that I made and canned. So we're going to add some of this as our sweetener. So you want to taste? Shana, you want to taste?
Let me try this. Oh yeah. Boldly unpretentious with subtle militaristic overtones and just a hint of ginger ale.
And there's our syrup. It's enough to make you want to drink.
That's the whole idea. That's strong. That's probably around 15%. Maybe
It is, but it's strong.
Yeah,
Okay.
one glass is what I need.
So
Here, drink some more. Wine is fine, but liquor's quicker.
yeah. How much should I put in there?
I don't know, some. And we'll stir it up and then retaste. And this has all been sanitized.
So should I?
Well, here, I'm going to start with this.
I was going to use this for pouring
Yeah,
that.
definitely sanitize that. Yeah, get that into Star Sand. By the way, you don't have to use Star Sand. You can use a diluted bleach solution. 2 teaspoons per gallon will do the same thing, but you got to rinse it. Star Sand, you don't rinse.
Okay, so we're going to pour, I don't know, I'm just going to pour some.
Yeah, just a little bit at first. Okay.
That's maybe a quarter, maybe half a cup, maybe.
All right. Take a taste. You know, if we taste this enough, there's not going to be any left to bottle, but we're sure we'll have fun.
It's going to make me drink. That's better, but it's still pretty dry.
I'd probably double that up.
Right?
I'm thinking probably half at least.
Yeah, I'd do half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to pour, I'm going to stir this up just to make sure it's,
Yeah.
okay, that is right about half.
Okay. And the stirring is kind of slow and easy because you don't want to oxidize the wine by stirring oxygen into it.
Okay.
Go for it.
Better needs more. I'm thinking the whole jar.
Yeah.
What the heck?
We're gonna do the whole jar. So there.
You know, it sat in here so long it really dried out because there's a lot of alcohol in this. I kid you not. We didn't do a reading. We didn't do a measurement. But you can taste it.
Okay.
And a nice bit of warming going down. So how is it?
That's better, but I almost think it needs more.
Yeah. Go do a little bit more. What do you think, Shana?
A little bit. I like it like that better.
Going a little more.
But a little more, do a little more.
Like maybe about a quarter of that, you think?
This is that porch sipping wine. Pretty good bed.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Stir that up a little more. That, I don't even think that's a quarter. Let me,
Yeah.
that's about a
All
quarter.
right, try it now.
I think that's better.
Yeah. What do you think, Shana?
Like that?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that's it.
I think that's good. So that was about a pint and a quarter. So now we go on to the next step. Okay, it's time to put this stuff in the bottle. So, sanitize. Dunk the bottles in the bucket of your sanitizer or bleach water or whatever you're using. Make sure inside and out. And I'm going to supervise with my fancy glass of wine. It's even got a little charm on here. It's fancy.
Yeah.
So he's just going to stick the bottle there.
This is the easy way to do it. This is the
Turn it
low-tech way.
on.
Not real fast, so we don't want to get too much oxygen splashing around in there. But see, you can just do it without anything else. No hoses, nothing. Just kind of stick the bottle in there and let it fill up. And these bottles are flip top, so you don't have to cork. You don't have to do any of that. You just kind of fill them up and then put the flip top down, put them in the refrigerator or wherever you're going to keep them.
And also he said to be sure and say, it was very clear liquid, but since I added my concentrate to it, it added the stuff from the concentrate.
Right,
but I
so
don't
it
care
clouded
because it clouded a little, but it
Which is
added
cool.
flavor and sweetener.
And bada boom. There it is. Easy peasy.
All right, a first bottle of Redneck strawberry with a little blueberry wine. And lemon.
That's it.
All right, this is like a bonus extra because most of our bottles have these little flip tops.
And we had that.
And the screw top on this great big one. But Brian decided he bought this cute little corker thingy. So we're going to put some in regular wine bottles with corks.
Right. And cork fits in here like that. Goes down on the bottle like that. And Bada boom. Corked.
Oh, isn't that cool? So we only have 2 bottles like that. But we had to
So-
try it.
Again, like that.
And we bought all this because
Goes in there
Shana
like
is
that.
going to start making wine with one of our friends and neighbors.
There it is.
Yay! All right, there you go. Making Sorta Redneck wine all the way start to finish. Thanks for watching. God bless, and we'll talk again soon.